Now, ever since Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker's release around 1 week ago on December 19th, a lot of fans have been very curious about the future of the Star Wars franchise. This is Mike Zero. Make sure to subscribe if you're new to the channel for future Star Wars content. Now, one thing about Episode 9 is that we do know that there were elements in that movie that really were used as a foundation to create new Star Wars lore, as done by J.J. Abrams. In case you guys did not know, The Rise of Skywalker actually made many of the other characters that we all know and love from the EU canon, including Darth Revan, Darth Ndidu, and other Sith Lords out there in the Rise of Skywalker visual dictionary. So Darth Revan is now officially canon. However, what about future films? Now, we've been talking about the fourth trilogy, right? The set of Star Wars movies to come out in the 2020s by Disney and Lucasfilm to bring fans a different era of Star Wars that we have never seen before on the big screen, which really is going to be a big deal. Now, what is exciting about all of this is that we also know that Lucasfilm wants to bring fans in a different direction for the future of the franchise, to give Star Wars a different feel, if you will, than how they approach the sequel trilogy, essentially. You know, with every single trilogy, it has its own tone. If you look at the prequels, the originals, the sequels, this new, trilogy, these new set of Star Wars films are going to have their own feel as well. Now, with that being said, it's said that both Disney and Lucasfilm are currently now fully focused on the future of the Star Wars franchise, not just with Disney Plus and their live-action TV series, but also about the future films that will release throughout the 2020s that so far is said to shape into a fourth trilogy of Star Wars films that will be based around a brand new era of the franchise and introduce a new mythology. It's said that Disney and Lucasfilm are set to announce their director of the first film in mid-January of 2020 next year, and that the script and director of the first film in mid-January of 2020 is going to be announced, where the filming of episode, whatever it's going to be called, 10, Star Wars X, whatever have you, will begin in early 2021 to bring Star Wars in a different direction for fans. It's noted that Disney wants George Lucas to be involved with the first film of these new Star Wars movies, and that they are in negotiations of getting Dave Filoni or Jon Favreau involved in some way, shape, or form to bring fans a different tone of the franchise. Additionally, it's established that the first film of the new trilogy may have a Roman numeral format, hence why the film is dubbed as Star Wars X, which could hint as to why it may be Star Wars Episode 10 as the first film of the new trilogy, depending on when they want to set the film. However, they will be using Legends material as inspirational source material to tell their story, and that they are still in negotiations of getting Keanu Reeves on board for one of the main roles. Now, the first film of the new trilogy by Disney is also set to have more filming locations based in the United States and Europe, and that they are looking to film the movie over in Germany, for starters, sometime after the script has been completed. However, in the meantime, they will be actually location scouting for potential filming locations of filming for the first film of the new trilogy. Now, this new Star Wars film is said to be a more violent type of Star Wars movie that will be darker than any other Star Wars before, and that they are also looking into getting some of the cast from Game of Thrones on board for the new trilogy, including Kit Harington for the first film of the new Star Wars trilogy, where it's said that Kathleen Kennedy is said to be looking into getting Kit Harington involved with the project. How big of a role he will be in the first film, if he accepts it, remains a mystery. However, this lines directly up with Disney's obsession with cast from Game of Thrones being involved with their Star Wars films. Not just that, but also John Williams is said to not be a part of this project and will not be composing the music, and that they are also on the hunt for a brand new composer that would create themes that would stay true to John Williams' style. George Lucas, however, will be overlooking the project at John Williams' style, and will also be overlooking the project while the script is being written to make sure it falls in line with some of the mythology that's already been established. Now, the first film is going to deliver a unique experience for fans, and is said to be the most complex decision by Lucasfilm heading into a new era of the franchise that fans have never seen before on the big screen. This will be a big risk by Disney and Lucasfilm for the future of Star Wars, without a doubt. So let's go over a couple of parts about this and as to why some of this honestly comes at a surprise. Now, the thing about the future of Star Wars, right? With Disney Plus, we got the Obi-Wan Kenobi TV series, we got the Cassian Andor TV series, which honestly I really don't care all that much about Cassian Andor of all people. I just don't know why they're making a TV series based around him, but you got me. The other thing is of course, their future Star Wars films. Now, this really is going to be a big deal. Now, a lot of fans are very much curious as to exactly what this is going to be like as far as scale and as far as tone and how it's going to be delivered. Now, one thing is for sure is that this is going to be by far the darkest Star Wars film there is out of all the history of Star Wars films. Not just with the Skywalker saga, but also with Solo and Rogue One, you name it. So, the fact that they are trying to develop a darker Star Wars movie really is something that I think I'm honestly excited about. The fact that they're also trying to get Keanu Reeves and Kit Harington on board for this new Star Wars film screams that this movie is going to be very violent, hence why they want to make this new Star Wars movie as violent as can be. I believe that that falls directly in line with how they are basically cherry-picking elements from Star Wars The Old Republic and Knights of the Old Republic eras. And we've actually heard this before in the past, that they are borrowing elements from Star Wars Legends, that they're going to be inspired by Star Wars Legends that tell this new Star Wars story that's going to drop in the early 2020s. Now, like I say, 2020 is going to be a big year because that's the planning, and that's when the script is going to be written, that's when the director is going to be announced, that's when we are going to learn more and more about this movie, especially in August of next year at Star Wars Celebration in California over in Anaheim. And that's when a lot of fans are going to realize, more and more about the direction that Disney is going to go through for the future of Star Wars. Now, the thing that really gets me is that they're going to look forward to filming more over in the United States and Europe equally. So we're going to have more filming locations in the US as well as Europe, equally speaking. So the first phase, they are actually looking at Germany. We actually heard about this a couple of months ago. We talked about this, that they were really discussing about filming over in Germany, like Berlin and those, different types of areas of Germany in order to create a new, different feel for the Star Wars franchise. Honestly, looking at Germany, I can see that being a setting for the Old Republic era. There's no doubt about it that if you look at specific cities over in Germany, you can really see where the inspiration is coming from. Now, Kathleen Kennedy, like I've always said before in the past, we actually went over this a couple of days ago, that Kathleen Kennedy apparently will not be involved, creatively speaking, with this movie. She will only be involved with the planning, and that's it, which could very well be a big indicator that she's going to leave in 2021 when her contract is up. And that's the big year when the movie is going to be pretty much, almost complete. They're going to start filming. They're going to put it all together into one piece. And that most likely is, yes, when Kathleen Kennedy will retire. Again, her contract is up during that year, so look forward to that. Honestly, I think that's one of the main reasons as to why The Mandalorian is such a big success, is because Kathleen Kennedy really wasn't all that involved with that Star Wars TV series on Disney+. She really wasn't. And I think that's why it really stands out and why it really feels very authentic to the Star Wars franchise. About Kit Harington, does this really come as a big surprise? To me it kind of does, but at the same exact time it kind of doesn't, because if we look at the history of Disney Star Wars, a lot of the Star Wars films have always had, the cast of Game of Thrones involved. Gwendolyn Christie as Captain Phasma, a great example there. Another example is we also had Emilia Clarke as Kira in Solo: A Star Wars Story. Other examples out there as well. So the fact that they're trying to get Kit Harington on board alongside Keanu Reeves for this new Star Wars film really tells me that they're heading into the Old Republic era in order to tell a very unique Star Wars story. The fact, though, that John Williams will not be involved and composing the music is also a big disappointment. I get it, he's up there in age, and by the time this movie arrives, he's going to most likely be in his 90s, I believe, at that point in time, so I'm sure he wants to move on and enjoy his life and just kind of retire and do what he wants to do, which is fine. I think that they'll find somebody, good enough to the point where it will still feel like Star Wars, but there's no doubt about it that nobody out there will match John Williams. There's no way of arguing that, John Williams is the man. He's got his own style, he's got his own sound, and I don't think that we will ever have a composer that sounds exactly like him. So with that being said, guys, drop a comment below. Let me know what you think about all of this in the comments. And if you guys did enjoy the content for today, do make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.